All right. How about that? We are live. How's it going? As always, Nate Mumford, Director of Sales Engineering here at RCS, hanging out at my little home office over here because we moved, actually. That's right. We moved across the street over in White Plains, New York with our brand new state-of-the-art facility. I can't wait to show you the brand new demo room over there in White Plains. It is gorgeous. As I said, state-of-the-art facility as well. We'll talk about that down the road in one of these RCS Lives. And speaking of RCS Lives, a big shout out to Amy for making this really awesome graphic over here. This is some of the events that we have coming up for RCS Lives. I'll showcase this at the beginning and end of videos so you can see topics we're talking about in the upcoming future. And you can see today, obviously, is GSelector's rotation rules window. And there's a lot of great stuff coming up over there as well, including us being live at where? CRS 2022. That's Tuesday, February 22nd to the 24th over in Nashville. So if you're there, we'd love to connect with you. If you've got questions, I'll be there walking around the conference and all of that good stuff as well. So we're going to talk about the rotation rules window. This is a great window. I love working in here. And I feel like a lot of users, when they see this, they're either A, intimidated by it, which they shouldn't be, or B, they don't really know what's going on. They only know what their PD or whatever they're trained them in GSelector shows them in that window. So we're talking about all those great scheduling techniques as well. Of course, as you know, get some housekeeping out of the way. Don't forget, we have a full archive over at rcsworks.com/rcs-live. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter Live. So if you have another kind of social media medium, we'll be there and live and all that good stuff. There's also, don't forget to check your backup paths. Send those data exchanges. And we're always looking for beta testers as well. Of course, we have GSelector 5.0 right here. We also have Zeta 521.2, which is in beta right now as well. Always looking for beta testers. So if you're curious about the latest and greatest new features, we'd love to have you test it and play with it. And of course, I have my chat open as well. Marcelo, how's it going? Thank you for checking in. Let's see here. We got Aaron. Yes, the demo room is going to be, ooh, it's beautiful. Let's see. We got Rick in here as well. Rick, how's it going? Hello from Alaska. Hopefully it's great. We're actually getting a little bit of a heat wave here over in the Northeast. It's like 38 outside. And I literally was like, oh, this is no coat weather after the kind of a couple days we've had over there. I know that Texas has got like, what, 30? And Rick's over there in Alaska like, yeah, guys, it's way worse over here as well. And let's see, we got a C-Tip as well. How's it going, C-Tip? Any questions? Any tips? Let us know. We're here to help out as well, right? So we got the chat going. We're live. We're talking about GSelector. We're talking about rotation rules window. I got my new laptop over here, by the way. So thank you, the IT guys. And if anything sounds weird or something, let me know, because I had, of course, move and migrate everything over here as well. And I decided to upgrade my database with a new database here. So I got some settings I still have to implement. But I thought we'd have some nice, fun rule discussions today with GSelector. Where is the rotation rules window, right? Where is it, Rick? Do you remember? Goals tab, priorities tab, and you'll see we have a nice rotation rule window right here. All right, I'm going to click this first and show you this window. This is what we're going to talk about today, this rotation rules window. And again, this is such an amazing window. It's very, very powerful. Lots to control here, right? So the first thing is obviously goals, priorities, definition, rotation rules window. This, I like working here personally because this is your overall snapshot of those rotation rules, right? This is looking at all categories, all priority lists, all goals, all rules. But there is, if you notice, you go to goals and balance, there's the same one right here as well. Rotation rules, same exact window. The best way I can describe this for you is treat these as specific. So if I'm looking at goals, balance, artists, and I click the rotation rules window, I'm looking at the rotation rules window by attribute, artist, day part as defined right here, and of course, all of the categories inside of that. Whereas let's say I jump over here to attributes, right? I'll click on sound code, rotation rule window, and now look, sound code, AM drive, and all, right? But if I jump to back to my priority list, the same rotation rule window here, I have attribute all, day part all, category all. I can still go here, type S, scroll down for sound code. I can go day part, hit AM drive, and I, of course, can show all my values here if I wanted to. But again, notice how I click there? I like that because when I'm working in this window, I'm not working in this window 24/7. I'm only working in this when I want to prep something or make mass changes, right? That's why I'm working here. So it depends on how you want to do it. There are times where I jump to the goals balance, and there's other times where I just work here. No right or wrong way. Just want to show you some examples here. And by the way, I took a quick look at some of these goals and rules, and some of these, I'll be honest with you, don't judge me on them because for me, I always have yesterday unbreakable. That's what I have there. Whereas past days in here, there's some spreads here and stuff like that. And just so you know, these are some things I have, not my cup of tea per se. There's a lot of things I want to put in here, but if you're kind of looking at these videos and saying, I'm going to replicate exactly what Nate has, no. Everything's about you and your situation, right? So let's talk about customizing your station with some tips and tricks. Right, Rick? Right, C-tip? Right? So we have the rotation rules right here. Click on that icon. I'm not going to save my changes. You can see right here, boom, there's this window. Important things to note, right? You can see breakable, unbreakable, unassigned. Those are the colors you can see here. There's an F3 for copy the above cell with F8 copy the above row. Now, pro tip, shout out to Stan and support. Stan and I used to joke about this when I first came to RCS like 6 years ago, and they made this enhancement for us. If you double click on the header, boom, it expands this window nice and big here, right? So I can see that I might have a little kind of crop there. So I'll make this nice and big for right now so we can see it without kind of, there we go, perfect, right? So again, double click on that header, sort of maximize it, double click to maximize, double click it again to minimize. Little pro tip for you right there. So what are we looking at in this window? Now you'll notice that, okay, I got a lot of gray area here. What exactly am I looking at right now? And the best thing is start from here at the very, very top. Remember, this is a piece of software. It's only going to do what you tell it to do. So when we have a filter enabled, I'm looking at the attribute all, day part all, category all. Okay, Nate, that's a lot of alls there, but I'm not really seeing anything down here. And that's because we have this only show assigned values. This gets everybody when they first jump in this window. Uncheck that, and then you're like, whoa, Nate, that's a lot of metadata. And exactly, that's a lot of metadata for you to control based on your music philosophy, right? Again, oh, that's too busy for me. Great, uncheck it. These are some of the values that we have saved inside of this particular database right now. So again, attributes here, we can filter based on the attribute or the day part or the category. We can group these two, by the way. So I can say like group by the day part. Notice how I have day part 2 first, day part 1, midday, PM drive, night. We're going to talk about that in just a second. We have AM drive and overnight. So I can expand these if I wanted to. Or I can group by category here. B, C, fill, O, R. Stuff like that, right? And again, all I'm doing here is grouping. Doesn't have to. Just put none. Your choice. I've played around with both. Really, there's no right or wrong way how to do this. And again, if you have questions here, we are live, so feel free to chime in, right? So let's see here. I'm just going to my little Facebook chat here. Right, Neil? Sudar, how's it going? Henrik, of course, as always. Hey, Henrik, how's it going? And so, again, show assigned values, your first key thing here to make sure you see all those values. Typically, what I do is if I'm making a lot of music changes, I will uncheck this. I'll use the filter, so I'll type in, S for song. And again, I'll put in all my values here for minimum separation, yesterday, prior day, stuff like that. And then that way, when I close this window and I return back the very next time I open it, notice, by the way, it's all clean, nice and neat, exactly the way we want it. So that's kind of how I interpret that show assigned values. Now, Columns from left to right, and we'll break down these rules in a second. We have the actual attribute here. We have the day part. We have the category and the assigned priority list, right? This is important. So if you notice, I have O, R, C, B, and fill, Z, hold. But you're asking yourself, wait a second, Nate, you have a lot more categories than that. This particular database, we try to show different types of scheduling techniques. So we kind of isolated some of these. So there's an A here. If I click on the A, which is my A priority list, right? I just call that based on the category. Go back to the rotation rules window. Now notice there are my A's. So first thing here is this is priority list specific. So if I click on if my A's are assigned here, as you can see, song category group A is assigned to priority list A. So see right there, again, this is just the assignment. Goals, priorities, assignment. I'm essentially creating a priority list. I assign my category to that priority list. Of course, I can always keep things simple and have a bunch of them assigned to different types of categories there too, if I wanted. And then I just click on the priority list, rotation rules. There's my categories with my corresponding priority lists, right? Makes sense. I'll go back to the default because it has a bunch of categories here. And you'll notice, by the way, for these two here. So look at this day part. I'm going to group this together here by day part to show you a really cool setting. Hey, Margaret, how's it going? Hello from Ireland. Thank you for checking in. I appreciate it. Love Ireland. Absolutely loved it. I went my honeymoon over there in Ireland. So we have here day part 2 overnight, AM drive. We have 1 midday PM drive and night, and of course the 2 first. Now we all know the 2 for day part, that's by itself. That's part of 2 for scheduling. We got all that, right? Let's focus on this 1, 2, and AM drive. And I could have called this 3 AM drive if I wanted to, but the way that I design my GSelector is I like to isolate my AM drive because typically, morning drives have some type of morning show. And obviously with news, traffic, and weather, there's a little bit different math involved. Like for me, for example, we did about 8 to 10 songs, maybe about 8 songs per hour in the morning show, right? Because they're talking, they're doing all those bits. Whereas if I do, let's say, my middays, PM, and nights, that's a music-focused show. And that's going to be more of 12 to 14 to 16 songs an hour. And when you're talking about minimum separation, right, what we're really doing here is we're doing math. Right? We're doing math. If I have 60 minutes an hour and I'm scheduling 60 minutes of music, of content, but if I go to my AM drive and I'm only really scheduling 25, 30 minutes of music, that math starts to kind of get a little kind of funky, right? If you will. So I like to personally isolate my AM drive, combine my midday PM drive nights, and of course, overnights are completely different. Who cares about overnights? Let's be honest. Those are there too. So much lenient rules in regards to overnights. That also includes hours of the day, by the way. Midday, 10 to 3, 5 hours. PM drive could be 2 to 7, could be 3 to 6, but roughly around 5 hours. Nights, typically 7 to midnight. Again, 5 hours. What's midnight? Midnight's typically 12 to 6. Right? That's 6 hours. Again, a little bit different math if you're actually, following what I'm talking about here. So that's why I isolate those overnights. A little bit lenient on the rules, but again, different type of day part in there as well. So pro tip, how do I combine these day parts? And yes, as you notice, if I put in a min sep here, it's across the board for all 3 day parts. One value across all day parts. How do I do that? Very briefly, go to my setup. Go to my day parts here, and we have this group tab right here. If it has 1, 1, 1, if it has the matching group number as defined here by the edit day part, it will combine it into one grouping day part. So you notice I have nothing here. I have 1. That's why it's 1 parentheses midday PM drive night. And then I have 2 parentheses overnight. Again, setup, day parts, definition. Jumping back to goals here, and I know I'm moving a little bit quick here because I want to make sure that if you're watching this now or later, you can always kind of fast forward and get to the point you really want to look at, right? So again, we'll just grab this rotation rules here, right? We have the attribute, again, from that filter up here. Oh, I don't have the define attribute. Uncheck show assigned values. Look at this. Look at what you can do. These are all rules and goals you can define based on attributes with specific values. Look at this. I can go and just grabbing something here. Station era, station content I can do. I can do theme. This is across the board. I got mood, musician, publisher. I have so many values here that I can actually control in my station. Not to be confused, of course. Let's say theme, minimum separation theme versus, or I'll use sound code instead, right? All sound codes pushed across versus specific ones. If you want specific, then we're talking about the goals, balance, attributes, and then pop, not sound code, pop. There's that minimum separation right here for that specific value, right? Just making sure we understand that. Back to rotation rules, okay? Let's work down the row. Again, working very fast. Wow, Nate, there's so much information here. I hope there was just, oh, look at that. F1 dynamic help. And look at this, Teresa, brand new updated screenshots. Every rule broken down for you with examples. It is beautiful. If you need reference for this, more detailed examples. Right, Marguerite? F1 dynamic help. There you go. So let's talk about this for a second. Of course, we have the attribute. That could be whatever. We got our day part, got our category. That is assigned to the default priority list. And then we have all these values here on the right-hand side. So very briefly, and if you have questions on these, we're here, right? Yes, absolutely love it. So spread goals, cutoff days. Notice the days and minutes. So obviously days is going to have a single value, and hours, minutes is going to give you that 0, 1, 0, 0. The idea here is, at what point in time do I stop caring about spread goals to get to my song back to 100%, right? So for example, let's just say you have like 5 here. In theory, after 5 days, if the element hasn't scheduled, forget all of the goal scoring and just give it 100. That's the idea here, right? And again, I can elaborate more, but for time purposes, I'm just going to quickly kind of give an example and move on to each one. Min-sep or minimum separation, that is your go-to rule, right? Typically for that, it's in Vocalist, right? So I can go over here, attribute, type V. I'll go down here to Vocalist, boom. I don't see my values. I can just go ahead and uncheck that. And I can see all my Vocalist values here, right? And again, typically min-sep, I mean, geez, back when I was a PD, it was always like 40 minutes was like really pushing it. But now, I mean, we're scheduling artists back to back, right? With the world of streaming and podcasting, media outlets, just 2 Rihanna songs back to back. Does it matter if Rihanna has 2 #1 hits right now? Does it? That's the thing, right? And so again, 20 minutes, something like that, hit your 20 minutes and boom, we're good. Now notice, by the way, this F3 copy above cell. Me personally, F3, 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 F3. Yeah, it wasn't broken. See, it just makes sense, right? Versus the F8, which is, let's say we check off yesterday, same hour. We'll put in, I don't know, some type of 50 minutes or something, right? And then now I go back to this one, and then I do F8, and now it copies all those values across the board, right? Not just the cell, but the overall values, right? So again, work smarter, not harder. I kind of noticed, by the way, I was using my keyboard there, kind of use my mouse to get into that cell, save the cell value, click to, enter that value, and then move on as well. Ooh, we got some, we got some delightful spam in the comments. So, so spread goals, we got minimum separation days, minimum separation hour, minute. That, in case you don't know, that is really your GSelector bread and butter legacy rules right there. Under no circumstances could essentially this fill category during overnight play less than 20 minutes for the attribute vocalist across the board, right? Pretty straightforward stuff. I can elaborate if you want, but kind of for time purposes, we're going to keep on going over here, right? So that's minimum separation versus maximum separation. Be careful anywhere in this window, right? This is a very powerful window that if you get too aggressive, you're really narrowing GSelector's focus and being goal-based scheduling. Remember, we want to schedule everything. Let GSelector optimize your music log. So when we really restrict GSelector, we're going to have some funky rotations. Let GSelector do the heavy lifting for you. Maximum separation is essentially how long I can go before I have to play something, right? And again, max sep in days, max sep in hour, minute, or max skip, which is the same exact thing, but instead of time, we're doing a count. So like 3, something like that, 3 count, right? 3 scheduled positions, if you will, for that category. So again, maximum separation, just be careful, too aggressive. You're going to have some unique rotations. Typically, we stick with the minimum separation, so there's nothing too close together, and then we kind of use other goals to get that high-scoring song back into the music log. Day part rotation, hour rotation. 2 really, really important rules, and of course, they're usually misinterpreted. Day part rotation is going to be essentially how often you have to play another day part before you're allowed to return to your day part. Very, very easy to get confused. You see this and go, great, I'll just do whatever. Boom, 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 boom. No problem. I'll put it like 5. But you got to realize what you're doing here. If you put 5, that means if I schedule in the overnight, I have to play, right? So there's the overnight. I got to play an AM drive, midday, afternoon, nights. That's only 4. That's 4, which means you might have an unscheduled position because you don't have enough 5 to go back in the 6th day and then put back in the overnight rotation, right? It's all math. That's the idea here, all math, right, guys? Again, questions on this, let me know. We are live over here as well. So if you have any questions, need me to elaborate on any of this, just let me know, right? Right? So again, that is day part rotation. Hour rotation, you might think is 24 hours in a day. It's not. It's rotating the hour of the specific day part. So if I have PM drive, which is 3, 4, 5, 6, so a 3 to 7 day part, that's 4 hours that I can rotate, right? Now notice, go back to what I said earlier about day parts. Overnights, 6. PM drive, 4. Ooh, that number is going to change. It's not the same hour rotation. I might have a little more flexibility with the overnight or a 6-hour day part than I would a smaller day part. That also comes into play in some of those users who try to be a little too cute sometimes. And like, for example, the 9 a.m. hour, it's not really the morning show, but it's not really the middays. Some users like to isolate that day part, sure, whatever, but just be aware that's 1. That's a 1-hour day part. And if we do a day part rotation, it's going to schedule in that day part and it counts as 1. So just be aware. We want to make sure we're looking for gotchas here, right? So our rotation is going to rotate the hour, how many other hours it has to play in before returning back to the original hour within that day part. If we're talking about PM drive, if I schedule at 3 and I have to, let's say, an hour rotation of 2, I can play 4, I can play 5, then I can play again back in the 3 p.m. hour based on that PM drive day part, right? Making sense? Right, bot, who's spamming us on YouTube? Cool. So, days out of day part, days out of hour. This is how many, this is how many times a song, when it spins, how many of the value here until it can return back to that day part, right? I have notes here, but this is always one. F1 Dynamic Health Guide, I always get this one. You know, I don't like using this personally per se. It's an old legacy rule. And I want to open this, but I realized I got a kind of a time-sensitive document that I did not put on my other monitor, so I don't want to open up right now for my notes. F1 Dynamic Help, there you go. I made a mental note to save that, and I did, but I have it in the background on this monitor. So we'll move on to play window, number of plays windows, hour, minute, right? This one is essentially, I like to kind of call it number of plays back, and then, of course, the window of which it plays. So think of a classic hit, a gold base station classic rock. We're not talking about, spinning 5 times a day plus. We're talking about maybe a couple spins per week. And when you think about it, think of Wednesday at noon, right? If I schedule Wednesday at noon and I have number of plays, we'll just say 1, right? And the play window is, we'll say 4 hours, right? Which means on Thursday, I can only play, what's that, 8 a.m. and then 4 p.m. That's my window where I cannot schedule this song. So if I'm scheduled Wednesday at noon and my play window is one spin back with a play window of 4 hours, that song cannot schedule on Thursday between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Now notice that's a great way to move day parts. So I can do something like 4 and like 20. So now I move the quarter hour for my PPM clocks and I'm moving day parts, which is great, except notice the spin counts. That is once on Wednesday, once on Thursday, once on Friday. If you have like 7 songs in there or 7 spins per week, it works great. But if we're talking about like a more current hit format, a hot country that's got, 89, 70 spins per week, this is not the rule you're looking to implement. It's just not, right? Make sense there? Yesterday, same hour, yesterday, prior day, and past day. Very, very simple. Yesterday is going to be when this check mark is enabled. It essentially says that I cannot schedule this attribute vocalist in the previous day, right? Those are defined in your setup in your days of the week. So, for example, if I'm Tuesday, I can't schedule in the same hour on Monday. But if you notice, there's also the hour, minute. And that's because think about your lunch and your at work crowd. If I schedule at 11:59 and then on the next day I schedule at 12:01, those are different hours. That is not yesterday's same hour. So typically what we did is we combined this rule into the yesterday rule. And we go, okay, well, if I'm 11:59, when can I play on the very next day? So if you're saying like, well, I'm cool with like 12:40, right? For whatever the category rotation may be, and also based on the attribute, right? So if you're cool with, let's say, like 11:50 and 12:40, then guess what? That is 50 minutes. So we'll mark off yesterday's same hour. We'll put the value at 50 minutes. And now we're telling GSelector you're allowed to play on Monday at 11:50 and Tuesday at, 12:40, something along those lines, right? There's also prior day with the same exact thing. Same exact Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday. That's prior day versus yesterday. Same exact rule applies. So you can see Monday at, what does it say? 11:50. And of course, Wednesday at 12:40. Then you're allowed to play outside of that window. That's prior day versus yesterday. And then there's the past day. Past day goes back now 8 positions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the idea there is it allows you to essentially go and say, okay, well, if I'm Monday, I'll use the Friday as probably a better example here. So Friday, 1 day past would be Thursday. 2 days past would be Wednesday. Then Tuesday, then Monday, then Sunday, then Saturday. Friday would be 7 days. And of course, the previous Thursday would be 8 days. So some programmers like to use past days here as well, because it gives a little more of kind of includes yesterday, includes prior day, includes like a third or fourth day, but it also includes a week prior. That's kind of the big thing there. So you might see somebody like for the 1 day backs, 100%, 2 day back could be like 80. 3 days back could be, again, it could be like 100%. And then, 0, 0, 0, 0 to the very final one as well. I see you there, C-Tip. And so again, that's over here on setup. I am not going to save my changes. Boom. Station, specific setting, days of the week. Setup, station, days of the week. There's my yesterday. Future protection for moving back and forth. Prior day, future protection. The weekend there. And then I have past days. There's that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I thought there was an 8 one. Is that in the 5 1? Is that what's coming down? I think I might be getting a little ahead of myself on the 8 days. I thought there was definitely an enhancement there somewhere along the line. That could be me. I apologize. But again, you can see here 1 through 7, and you might see them like this, where this could be 100% as well, right? Something like that. Again, if it's Friday, this would be Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, previous Friday. Best way to describe that as well. Cool. Let's see. For time purposes, let's start getting some questions in here before we're signing off. We try to keep it at 30 minutes. So I'm not keeping talking here for too long. So if you have any questions, now it's time to get them in. Let's see. I'm looking at you, C-Tip. So C-Tip's asking, let's see here. Hold on a second. I got to see it and read it here. How to schedule songs with branded intros, but not let them play after a station sweeper. Oh. So just related links. I got you. Because there's two pieces of imaging, right? So what CJ is asking essentially is he's got a song that has a branded intro. I'm assuming C-Tip, it's built in. So the song itself has a whole built-in thing in there. And then from there, what you would do is you don't want to play, obviously, here's a station identifier. Here's a station identifier with a built-in intro. You don't need that, right? So for there, we're really talking about related links. Linker, related links. I'll hit a brand new one over here. And what we're talking about here essentially is when the song, which would be your built-in, right? So C-Tip, this would be your, 10,000 hours built-in. We play the link, the 10,000 hours built-in sweeper, right? And then we go down here and we only replace and we check off all of our categories except the top of the hour ID. We don't want to take over the top of that ID. And then, of course, what that will do is replace that sweeper with your built-in, call it a day, all good. There's a great video, C-Tip, on our archive. Where is our archive? That is over here at rcsworks.com/rcs-live. You go there. There's one website, one video called Maximizing Your Imaging with Linker-Related Links. Check out that video. Maximize your imaging with related links or linker and related links. That's going to talk about that exact thing, C-Tip. It's going to help you out. Great question. A lot of good stuff on there too. That, again, is related links over there. So, again, any questions? Last call for questions over here. Cool. Thanks, C-Tip. Awesome. And by the way, there's a lot of great things you can do there too. Before I forget, one of the great cool features, enhancements that we did. Now imagine, C-Tip, right? You have two songs. I'll just use Happy Birthday because it's easy. You have Happy Birthday with a Happy Birthday new music built-in intro, right? Technically speaking, they're two different songs, but you and I both know they're the same song. There's just a built-in intro. Did you know there's a feature in GSelector, setup, hold categories? No, not hold categories. Station, setup station, and it's general features, attributes. There we go. Sorry. Setup, station, features, attributes, song identification. When we do an internal ID, we're looking at the GUID behind the scenes. It's a very complex, alphanumeric code that we use to identify the song. Obviously, when there's two versions, there's two different songs, right? But if you go artist and title, so what you do, C-Tip, is you have the title, Happy Birthday. We'll say the artist, C-Tip. And then you have, for the next version with the built-in intro, the title, Happy Birthday, has to be exact. Artist has to be exact. And we use the version. Yes, the version field is parentheses, built-in new music intro. And when GSelector sees the artist the same and the title the same, we will treat that song as one. We will schedule that song the way you want it to schedule. But we look at history, we look at analysis, we look at spin, rules, and goals. We are treating that song the same. This is such a cool feature. I think it was 4.8, somewhere along the lines there. But that's so cool. Again, setup, station, features, attributes, song identification, artist title. You have two versions of the same song. Use the version field to display the change, differentiate the two. You put that field in, of course, version in your editor. Right-click, modify columns, add version, nice and neat so you can see it. And then we take all those spins, all of the rules and goals and the history, and we combine it into one asset, right? Very, very cool stuff. Yeah, of course you can ask one more, C-Tip. Ask your question away. So while you do that, C-Tip, ask your question. And as we do that, I just want to show and remind everybody that we have our upcoming schedule. So get your last minute questions in right now before we sign off. As you can see, we have a lot of great topics coming up. We can always go to our archive, rcsworks.com/rcs-live. And again, all these videos are up there for free for you and to give you some tips and tricks on all of our software. Really, really cool stuff. Thank you, Amy. That's such a great graphic. Boom. Let's see. CTIP asking, okay, so he was asking here, can you show us how to create a jingle before last spot in a spot block, latest news, next in traffic? Ooh, CTIP, great question. Very loaded for the time that we have here. I will just say this. Let's see, what am I doing here? Clocks. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to kind of briefly talk about it and then kind of say this is a call to support, right? We're always here. Email us, support@rcsworks.com. Call us, was at 914-259-4900. Hit scheduling. They'll help you out with this as well. What you're talking about is interstitials. Yeah, really fun stuff. Clocks, your spot blocks. If you have Zeta, once you have those in here, we have the interstitial, right? The idea is that we have essentially multiple positions here, right? So we have essentially traffic positions inside of here. Where's that traffic? I don't remember how to do the, let's see, it's over here, drop down. I'll remember in a second, but you can see traffic load position there, right? So the idea is we have placeholders for traffic. And then we do is we have a link category group. There's your jingle, back to the music in 30 seconds, back to the music next, depending on where you have it positioned. And then we have a control here, which is just a Zeta traffic load position. So you'll get something like, traffic, link category group, and then control, traffic, organize that. You'll be good to go, right? Absolutely. So again, that number over there, boom. 914-259-4900 here in the U.S. If you're overseas, like our friend over in Ireland, we have local numbers there too. Again, always support rcsworks.com to email. That's in there as well. So, right? Makes sense. What do we got up for? Let's see here. I'm so excited for this graphic here. So what do we have for next week? We have, advanced Zeta configurations with Scott Farr. Oh, that's going to be essentially Zeta, the cloud, and all those connecting all your markets into one workflow. Really, really, really cool stuff. So thanks so much for the time over there. Yes, elbow, cough, wash hands. I like it. Awesome. So listen, any questions? We're here to help you out. Of course, in the archive, rcsworks.com/rcs-live. We're here every Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern, as part of RCS Live. I'm Nate Mumford. I'll see you next week. Have a fantastic week.